Welcome back, everybody, to Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Collectors community. I'm your host, Nico, and joined with me today, as always, is my co-host, Chris. How you doing, man?
Hey guys, what's happening?
As always, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you like what you saw here today. Hit the thumbs up button, that like button, and the notification bell to be notified of when these videos do drop every week. We try to get them out in time for Saturday. Someone I think has been slacking on the show notes lately. I don't know. I don't really want to point a lot of fingers around here. I mean, there's not many people that that do stuff for the channel in terms of the I guess the content getting out there to you guys. So I guess I'm to blame on that one. But spoiler warning, everybody, we're going to be talking about the books here today. The few books we have this week, anyways. It being a very small week, that being the 5th week of the month. And, we are going to show off some of the art. We are going to talk about what's going to be happening in some of these books. So be forewarned. Usually this is where I would tell you, and that's why I mentioned it, to maybe check the show notes to navigate through, maybe avoid books that you haven't read yet and come back, read them, then come back and check us out again. You can always find our videos in the playlist here on the channel. But yeah, so I'm gonna get these updated. I think I missed those show notes in the last couple of episodes, so my apologies on that one. I'll get back to it. I guess I've been a little busy lately, hitting up cons and
Oh yeah, of course. I guess you have more of your Comic Con stories, hanging out with your pals.
that's right. Yeah, I do. I got a whole bunch of them to talk about today. And listen, we got to fill the time up somehow, Chris. Yeah, we can't spend the whole hour talking about 5 books. So, but anyways, speaking about the books that came out this week, we're gonna be talking about the books that came out for the week of August 31st, 2022 here on the show. Yeah, they basically just snuck in this last day of the month. They got a 5th week of comics out of us. So that's happens every few months from the publishers, right? So as I mentioned, you're gonna see it being a lot smaller of a week for once. But that all being said, Chris,
That's it. Let's talk comics.
let's talk comics. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, first up this week we got X-Men number 14, which is a Axe Judgment Day tie-in. Yeah, we got this cover here. And yeah, what'd you think of this one, Chris?
Wasn't what I expected. Reading the solicitations there, they're talking about Cyclops being judged. Not that it was a bad comic though. I kind of like seeing that new team there in full effect. They're a pretty powerful team doing what they do. But I thought this issue is going to be more focused on, the judgment of Cyclops. You see him on the cover there, all chained up. I don't know why. That had nothing to do with anything going on in the story, unless I skipped a page.
Mm-hmm.
And his judgment seemed to be just kind of in the last few pages, and that's it. But otherwise, I thought it was a decent comic. What do you think?
Yeah, so a couple of things. Yeah, like you said, I love seeing this team. I'm really enjoying this new team. This was a little bit of a cool down from the last issue where we really got to see them in action and taking part in some of the the fights that were happening with the deviants and the Eternals and everything. Some good Iceman moments. I thought he was a really big important key player in this one. I mean, people forget Iceman is a Omega level mutant as well with his ice powers at this point. I think that was established a little while ago in the X-Men books. So yeah, he had a big part to play in what happened here. I mean, he like protected the Earth with like a ice layer or something like that.
Yeah, the big ice shield.
Ice shield, yeah, which was really cool, I thought. And he's just got a good attitude. I think he's one of these guys. I think that's not one of the more negative folks on the X-Men, and which is hard to come by. I gotta call bullshit though on this whole judgment at the end of the book. Like,
yeah.
Maybe I didn't understand exactly what went on because I kind of didn't get what he was hinting at. Maybe you can clarify for me, Chris. Did Cyclops basically throw out the fact that Jean Grey like threatened them with Jean Grey or something for him to get a thumb? Because I don't
know. It was like that whole judgment at the end. Like when I saw Captain America's judgment, I go, okay, this. I'm looking forward to everybody getting judged. And what is there? Just talk to my wife or talk to my teammates, and then the guy thumbs up. Come on, what was that?
That's what I don't understand, though. I don't understand what he was like hinting at for him to basically get the thumbs up judgment there. Like, what did he exactly say to him that, like, because
nothing.
if you're not gonna judge Cyclops, there's something wrong with you. Like Cyclops has done a lot of horrible shit. Like if he's
Yeah,
getting the thumbs up, like I don't know what's going on here. Like the people that should be getting the thumbs down, I feel, and I guess that's them skirting expectation. Like that's them trying to play with their expectations for these characters. I'm sure because if Captain America is getting a thumbs down and you're gonna give a thumbs up to Cyclops, like something's seriously wrong with this
yeah.
whole system. Honestly, like I don't know how you're gonna give Cyclops, and I know there's Cyclops fans out there, but even the fans, you gotta agree Cyclops has done a lot of sus shit, like a lot of like horrible type shit over the years as part of the X-Men in terms of being the leader or whatever, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
think to be like a leader of an assault team, you basically you need to get thumbs down if you're an
yeah,
effective leader. But
I don't know. I think that's real bullshit that scene. Like I don't know what he was hinting at. I don't know what he said basically to like it was almost like he said something about his wife. I'm like, is the Celestial afraid of Jean? Because they had that whole interaction where she kind of got in his head. You know what I mean? Is that why he kind of like, whoa, thumbs up? But like I don't understand exactly. Maybe
yeah, there's no explanation why he gave it thumbs up. And like he was just kind of looking at him, and then I didn't even know that it was thumb in that picture. But anyways,
yeah.
I was like, this kind of just took some of the wind out of the sails of all this judgment. I thought the front of the first few pages would be the story of them saving the Earth, and a majority of the book would be like the trial of Cyclops almost.
Yes.
And it was nothing. It was 2, 3 pages at the end, and that's it. He walks away. It's a nice picture,
I was about
but
to say I do like the image of him just like in the background, like
yeah,
it's kind of I don't know, man. I'm kind of still digging this event, the idea of it, because it felt like it was gonna be one thing and then it's something completely different. And I think that's really needed in the sense that it seemed like this was going to be just another bang 'em up, like heroes against heroes type event, which I was not on board for because those can be really fucking boring. Like I've read Avengers versus X-Men already. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, is this what this is going to be? This whole judgment thing's kind of thrown me for like a little bit of a loop here where I'm like, okay, there's some interesting stuff that could happen here. But yeah, this wasn't it. I agree with you. I think this was a weak showing of that. Like, and if you're not going to judge Cyclops, I don't know what's happening here. Like, what are we doing here? If you're going to give
yeah,
Cyclops it must have been an idle threat or something, and maybe that's what they were trying to convey in this scene. But I feel like it didn't really work too well, to be honest with you. I don't
yeah.
know. Yeah. So what'd you give it then?
Overall, I'll give the issue a 3.5. I thought it was, it's a good, decent issue.
Yeah, I agree. That's the most I can give this one, just because I was expecting a lot more. I feel like I think X-Men's been really great lately.
Yeah,
This was okay. All right,
yeah,
next up we got the variants, number 3, which just came out. It's number 3, right? Yeah, I think it's
yeah. I
variant
think number 3.
We both read this online digitally. What'd you think of this one, Chris?
That's not a bad story. Still, it's keeping my attention, and there's a bit of fun in there with, I guess, this is Jessica and She-Hulk there, where she kind of reveals that maybe she started the fight and she wasn't attacking the variants. And you kind of get a closer look into all these variants and what's going on. So, and the end of the story would keep me looking forward to reading the next one. And the art there with that Phil Noto art, though, that's still
Yeah,
good.
yeah. This is a weird comic, man. I don't know. This is a weird story. I'm not like it's okay. Like I don't know. Like I feel like this should be a lot better than it is. Like he said, I dig
Not
the
very
art.
factual. It's more of a reading type story.
I did really like the scene here where they all meet up at the coffee shop and you had
Yeah,
Hammerhead trying to like shake down the coffee and like his goons like glaring at the pastries. All he's focused
yeah,
on is trying to get a pastry. Like that was like a little fun scene. I thought that they inserted into this that wasn't necessarily which wasn't necessary, I guess, but it was kind of fun. Like I liked that. And then they just showed up like 4 different versions of Jessica Jones. Or oh, let's get the hell out of here. Like you think you better beat it. Like it's them at the local Starbucks kind of, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's all. And then you found out that every Jessica has some sort of traumatic event that happened to them, but not necessarily the Purple Man. So she was kind of grateful for that. She's like, oh my God, like the fact that Jewel or whatever, like her version of her as a superhero, like she was
Yeah.
happy that she had never experienced.
Yeah, just kind of corrupted, let's say.
Yeah. So I liked that part of it. Like I didn't find that hard to believe that they've all had some sort of traumatic experience, yet it wasn't all due to Kilgrave, the Purple Man, which
Yeah.
that was refreshing because, like, if they all had trauma from him, like, I feel like we've already seen so many Purple Man stories. So then when I kind of saw this was going to be another Purple Man story at the start of this series, I was like, really? I'm like, is this the only type of story we're going to tell with Jessica Jones? So I thought that was kind of, this is different than I think like any other Jessica Jones story I've read it, but it's not, I don't know. It's trying to do too much. I feel like there's way too many weird. And then there was the whole Luke Cage thing. Like, what was that guy that he fought? Was that like was that
That could be another variant. His name's Jesse.
right?
Looks like freaking Jessica Jones.
Okay. Is that, see,
And, at the end, was no, because at the end, the final page there, when I guess he's saying sorry, and we might have known each other in another life. Maybe that's just
mm-hmm.
what I'm thinking. Because he seems to have ideas that whoever's coming for him still.
Yeah.
So that's what I found interesting. That kind of made you think there a little bit.
It's a weird story. Yeah, it's not like I said, it's not what you would expect. I don't know if everything's working exactly. I'm still interested enough to finish the miniseries.
Yeah, I'm happy reading it online, and I'm not that upset that I didn't buy it.
Same. Yeah, I think it's only a 5-issue miniseries, but yeah. So what'd you give this one?
I give it a 3.5.
Same. Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing special, but it's a nice read.
Yeah. Okay. So next up we got Superman World Apocalypse #1.
Yeah, this cover is a bit crazy, but I don't know. You got to see that when I'm close or something. But anyways, I guess it's the final of the conclusion to the War World saga. Let's say I'm really not sure who some of these characters are, even after reading this whole thing. And I guess there's like a 3-pronged or 3 points of battle that had to happen, and I guess they all did. The last issue, I guess one of Superman's allies seemed to betray him, and then the big battle with Mongol at the end. I thought the battle with Mongol would be more epic, let's say, but I don't know, it just seemed to fall flat, and then the rest of the story kind of just played out as it should. And I'm still not sure who these characters are. Some of the Authority, and that thing with the baby or the orphan and whatever that baby in that jar is. So one good swerve was in there. It looked like that the Justice League was coming in to save the day, and I go, oh wow, this is going to be brutal. But that was just a swerve, so that was a nice play there. I guess they got me fooled.
Oh, so it wasn't this scene here. This wasn't the Justice League.
Yeah, they were coming in. I thought if they came in and saved the day, I go, what the heck, kind of.
What was
that
it?
was just a brutal ending to this series. But that was just a play on to try and get one of those authorities that were turned to get back onto the other side.
So it turned out not to be the Justice League?
Yeah, somebody's putting in some sort of illusion or something to trick
Okay.
The trick. I don't know, was it Apollo or something? I'm not sure. But that's basically the battle there, is he punches them, and then I guess Mongol has a little of, I don't know, some beam come out of his chest where he thinks he beats Superman. Then Mongol says, oh, when you came here, you underestimated me, and now I've done the same to you. And I guess the big thing is, at the end of the day, Superman goes back to Earth and gets reunited with Lois. And I think there's some sort of foreshadowing or some play on this League of Planets, because one of the Fallopians or Philosians, whatever, he's sort of out for revenge against the United Planet Federation or whatever it is. So maybe that's going to turn into something. But even if it does, that's not super interesting to begin with.
Mm.
And as I'm just happy it's over now too.
Yeah. This is it, because this is the last. This is it now. Like,
yeah, that's pretty much like the Omega, I guess. I don't know why they just didn't put this in in the Action Comics as a double-sized issue or something, or put it in the annual. But
Sometimes that's how they utilize the fifth week, though, with the annuals and the
yeah,
and that, right? Yeah, okay. So it's an excuse for them to sell an issue outside of. But the problem is, I think that you let down some readers by doing that because, like you just pointed out, not everybody would necessarily have picked this up knowing that this is the last part of the story. You know what I mean? Like the Harley
yeah,
Quinn, that this is a monthly event, but then you put out an annual, and some people purposely will avoid the annual, and then you find out it's literally the last part of the story that you may have been following this whole time, right? I mean, we're
yeah,
talking about how many over a year's worth of the War World stories, probably at this point, right?
yeah. Pretty much. It's been a while with that war world going on.
Right. So I've heard both sides of that. Is that
Yeah, I just wish
sometimes,
this thing would fall through like an Action Comics just as part of the story and not have
yeah,
to buy it and put it out as a number one or something. I don't. That just
yeah.
seemed to be a waste. And at the end of it, it's over. I'm happy. Maybe I read it online too, so maybe that took away from some of the stuff. But I'll give it a 3.5. I'm just happy the series is over and see where Superman or Action Comics goes to next. And that could be what I'm dropping soon too.
Okay, yeah, because I think they're doing the crossover with the
I might hang around for that crossover, see what's going on. Probably not going to buy the
yeah,
Son of Kal-El stories, but let's see what goes on here.
right. Okay. So next up, we got Harley Quinn 2022 annual #1. This concludes Task Force XX. That's the event. Oh, let's take a look at Chris's cover here. Very nice. That's a nice. Who's the artist on that?
Nathan Zerdy, I think.
Okay. Okay, cool. Very nice. But yeah, this concludes the monthly event, if you want to call it that has occurred throughout August.
Weekly event.
Yeah, sorry, weekly event. Yeah, thank God it wasn't a monthly event.
Like I say, what you said last week really put it out there. Where I'm glad they did put this in a weekly issue just to get it over with.
Yeah, if they stretched this out over 5 months or 6 months, I would have been more upset at this than have this month, right? But anyways, what'd you think of this one?
Well, the good news or the good part about this is, as an annual, it continued the series and the story, so it was a relevant annual.
Mm-hmm.
And the second story kind of, I guess, is leading into her next story arc, so that's all good stuff. The bad stuff is it's just been a kind of a lousy story.
Yeah.
And it's still. I'm just glad this is over too, personally. And I thought it was fun to see her in Vegas. That's nice seeing there and what's going on. So maybe something to look forward to. But I'm not sure if I'm be. I think I got the next few issues of Harley kind of already locked down on pre-order, but this could be another one I'm dropping.
I did like the new story that was being established at the end of this issue going forward for the series. I did enjoy that. That had some interesting aspects to it, I think. I like the artists on this issue. I thought this was okay in terms of a conclusion, but again, I do feel overall, I'm just going to sound like a broken record because we literally been talking about this for the last 5 weeks now. That this is just a very basic story, and it wasn't exciting by any means, and it was, it was just fine. Like it was. I don't think it was worthy of being a weekly event by any means, but like Chris mentioned, how I said last week, I'm glad that they at least got it out in 1 month as opposed to be stretching out the, like a normal story arc over 5 or 6 months, right? So, but yeah, this now, she's in Vegas, and by the end of this, this is the second story that was in this issue. That's basically going to be the story moving forward in the next issue.
Yeah, so the stories where she's got some little alien she's protecting or that's stowing away with her or something.
Yeah, there's an alien. She's with her buddy here. I forgot his fucking name all the time, but I like this.
It's Cap, right?
What's his name? Kevin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's his name. I think you're right. Yeah, I like him a lot. He's a good supporting character, I feel. And those two in Vegas with an alien, hijinks, I'm sure are gonna ensue. So yeah, that was it was all right. It is what it is. But I think overall, if you're a trade waiter or something, or you kind of are new to picking up the Harley series, maybe skip this Task Force X story. I would say I don't think it's necessary. I really liked the story before this with the chick that was part of this Task Force X, whatever her stupid name is.
Yeah, was it verdict or
verdict? Yeah. But I did like that story. I thought that and the Poison Ivy couple issues that they had between her and like that. I think that was just prior to that story. I thought they were both pretty good. Like this series has been wildly inconsistent for me though. I think it's been up and down. Like I think some stuff's been good. I think some stuff's just been fine, like very basic. Like in terms of
Yeah.
our Harley run, it's been okay. I don't think it's must read type material, but yeah, like I said, I'm gonna always talk about it on the show because I buy it because Christine, my better half there loves Harley and buys every single issue of Harley that comes out. So I end up reading it, right? Whether it's good or bad. Usually I'll read it anyways, right? But so yeah, there you go. I'm just glad they're sticking to one series with her and not fucking like 5 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
some of the characters. She's popular enough. I'm sure she could do more than one title if they really wanted, right? But I'm okay with just the one.
Yeah, like I'm just hoping they kind of, I don't know how to make this grittier, but just kind of make it be more important somehow. These all seem like, Harley Quinn animated series tales or something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, you bring up a good point. I don't know why, because they have an HBO Max Harley cartoon that's fucking hilarious. Like
Yeah,
rated
that's crazy. I just started watching some of that the other day.
It is hilarious. Hard R cartoon, and they actually did. They are making there is a comics miniseries out of that. The Eat Bang Kill Tour was based on the third season of
Yeah,
that, so they have started doing comics for that. I've yet to read that. I didn't pick that up, but maybe that's good. I don't know, but I don't know why they don't do like a black label rated R type Harley story. I really don't
yeah,
understand why.
I'd be down for that 100%.
That's what I mean. Like we know that tone for this character works. Like it's just like they wanted to do a rated R Deadpool. Like these are characters you can kind of get away with that. I feel like because
Yeah,
they've always Deadpool's like Marvel's Harley essentially, or vice versa. We've heard this before, right? So I think you could do something like that and it would be successful. So I'm not sure why they haven't they don't make the comic that, right? Like I get it. They need to still sell uh I wouldn't say all ages, but something that's not a hard R book of Harley because it's such a big character, right? You need that because they are like it's very you kids have that on their pajamas and shit. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean. So it's they need to keep something like that going, but I think there's a lot of opportunity being missed to do something like that. You bring up a good point about that, Chris. I think I would enjoy that a lot more if they kind of did it like the cartoon.
yeah,
So maybe that cartoon book is the one that I should be seeking out. Then I don't know. I haven't heard too much about it. But anyways, so what'd you give this one?
yeah. I'll get 3.25, 3.5. You
Yeah, two
know,
five.
out of a
I'm good.
slow week, the worst comic.
Yeah, I agree. It's 3.25 for me as well on that one. All right, and then finally we got Amazing Fantasy 1000. Oh, what cover did you
Look at the
get?
big daddy. Got a
Is
J.
that
Scott Campbell
very nice? Nice. Is that a special like is that a one in
here.
something?
One of the variants, yeah. No, it's not a was one of like a variant B or something like that.
I just got this cover. Yeah, that's the basic one. All right. So yeah, so because we have a lot of time here to fill here today, guys. This is our last comic. There's only 5 comics this week we wanted to talk about. We figured, unlike other big anthology type issues, we actually would briefly mention each story that's in this one. So I'll show a couple of pages off of each story and we'll kind of talk about it. This is an anthology based type issue. It's got about 8 stories. I think 9 with the one at the end, which was like a send off to somebody who died, I guess, recently from Marvel, a creator of some sort, and yeah, so 9 short stories here. Really great creative teams, good artists, good writers involved. It is all Spider-Man stories. But like any anthology, I think that as a result, you're going to see a mixed bag of maybe what ones that are really good and some that are just okay. And at least that was my experience with it. But yeah, so let's get into it here. So first up, the first story here is by Anthony Falcone and Michael Cho with Michael Cho on art. What did you think of this?
This is the one with I guess that guy that was spraying all that hallucinogenic stuff out there. This is where what's oh no, this is the one that's oh yeah. where he keeps on catching that same guy over the
Yeah.
years. I thought that was a decent story.
Where he's just like, yeah, I'm just some guy, kind of, and then it ends with him like tied up, and it's called Just Some Guy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the story was okay, nothing crazy, but it was a fun story, and you kind of see the same guy throughout the years, and it's kind of ties together kind of a few different eras of Spider-Man, I guess.
yeah, he keeps taking down this dude, and he's kind of like, what makes me so special that this guy he keeps catching me like doing stuff over like I think it's like a 5-year period. And yeah, I did like it. I do like Michael Cho on art. I think he's got like a classic kind of style to his art. Kind of like new and old school at the same time, very pop arty. Kind of like I like his art a lot. So like we don't see many interiors from him. I think he's a cover guy. Like he mostly does cover work. So to see him in like a small 8-page or whatever this was, 6 pages or whatever, I was happy to see him on art on this one. But yeah, this one was all right.
Yeah, I like the story with him. He's always trying to kind of pull his jobs whenever all these big events were going on, and he thinks everybody's too busy. But I guess Spider-Man's always there on the ground.
Right. Then you got Sinister 60th, which is Dan Slott writing, and Jim Chung on art. He's just great. Jim Chung is
Nah,
just
that's what's killer.
great artist. I really enjoyed this story. This was really
Yeah,
good.
you know how they always say they don't want to age up Spider-Man or they think it's going to be brutal. Like this story here alone could just be, what if, one more day never happened and that storyline just pushed on to whatever was it what series 900 or something, and it was just 900 straight up, and his life was just going on.
Mhm.
Like this was a sick story.
You hit the nail on the head. How often do we get a story or see Spider-Man as an old ass man? And then you also had like the tragic, sad moments in this issue. You had like him reconnecting with Mary Jane as always on his birthday when he's late as expected.
How could he still be doing this to that poor girl? Come on, my man. Go up on time once.
But look at this double page spread. Yeah, this was a fantastic short story. And of course, Dan Slott is the guy who delivered it to it, somebody who has had many years of writing Spider-Man, but I don't feel we've ever seen a story like this. And like you said, we don't really get many opportunities to see that. So this was excellent. This is probably there's one other really good one. Like, no, there's a couple other ones I like, but there's one that's either this or the other one we're going to talk about later on is probably my favorite story of the issue. This is probably it, though, I think, because this was
This
like,
is hands down my favorite right here
yeah,
for sure.
I think it is for me too. Quite honestly, it was great. Yeah, it's a really good one. Really good one. Okay, then we got this one. This is by Armando Lanucci. I'm not familiar with him. Ryan Stegman on art, who I'm a big fan of his. He did a bunch of the Dan Slott era on Spider-Man versus Conspiration.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I couldn't even pronounce that guy's name. This is one I thought we were talking about earlier. But the
Yeah.
art in this one is just, this is another freaking awesome one.
Yeah, it's Ryan Stegman. He's
Yeah. I don't know if he like went extra, extra hard on this just because it was whatever, a 6-7 page story. So he really put effort into each panel. But man, if this guy would draw the Amazing Spider-Man on the regular, or at least freaking guest star or every other issue or something, wow.
He did when Slott was on the book. This was like that's how he kind of rose to fame. Ryan Stegman. He drew majority of the Superior Spider-Man era as well. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's good, man. Yeah, the thing that's great about Ryan Stegman, and he has another person. This is his longtime inker, I think, on this JP Meyer or something like that. He has his it's a very small detail, but what I always loved about his art for Spider-Man, his webs are McFarlane like. He's got a very McFarlane-esque kind of style when he draws Spider-Man, and still looking like his own style. Don't get me wrong, but there's things that he kind of, especially the webs, that he basically took from McFarlane, and growing up on McFarlane Spider-Man like this, that's why I fell in love with his art. Like, I think he's a great artist. So this story was just okay, but the art was that.
So you get an extra few points just for the art on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, but the story was fine. Yeah, he took down this dude, and yeah, that's and then next one you got this one, which was a lot of great artists in this. This is Olivier Coipel, who's amazing too. And then Rainbow Rowell, a Rowell on art. The Kid's Got a Good Eye is what this one's called. I like this one. I mean, this was like more talking about Peter's experiences at the Bugle, right?
Yeah,
And he takes a bunch of snapshots of like regular life in New York, and he thinks he's like, like, oh, he's gonna
yeah,
paint this.
exactly.
He's like some hotshot photographer,
Yeah,
right? And
Andy Warhol there of photography or something.
Betty Brant there wants to go out on a date with him, of course, as she tends to do in the older,
Yeah, I
Spider-Man.
guess it's like the early days of Spider-Man here.
Yeah, and of course, Spider-Man's always like a bum. He doesn't have money, so he's trying to get money for these photos, and fucking Jay Jonah, of course, freaks out at him. He's like, "Listen, I like, where is all this shit? Like, he's like, all I pay
Yeah,
you for is pictures of that menace." And then and then when he was eating an ice cream, like his camera was going, and he accidentally took a shot of him trying to fucking eat an ice cream with the mask on, and the ice cream fell on his costume, and that was in the stack of photos. Like he forgot about it, right? And
yeah,
Jay Jonah's like, "Oh, this one's awesome. Yeah, this is where we're gonna put on the front page." And then as he's walking away, Robertson there, he picks up the stack of photos off the ground, and he's like, "Kid's got a good eye." Like he actually appreciates like the photos that he took
yeah.
of like not like stuff non-Spider-Man, right? So
It's like the life in New Yorker.
yeah, I liked it. I thought again, this was another successful short story. Like if you could drive a point home, or make an impression on why this character is the way they are in like 6 pages, you know what I mean? Like it's very hard to do a short story, I would think, in comparison to like a story arc, obviously, right? Because
Yeah, this is like a good Peter Parker story, let's say, not really a Spider-Man story.
yeah, but it was good. But that's what I mean. It was
Yeah,
true to the character, and like you were successful in giving us a moment in his life within six. Like you got very little time to kind of pull that off, right? So I
yeah,
think it was good. I liked this one a lot actually as well. This was a good one. Then you got this one. This one was weird. This reminded me of that fucking weird issue of Ben Riley with the hospital. There's like a spider creature in this, and the art. This was called In the Flesh by Hoche Anderson, who wrote it, and Giuseppe Camuncoli on art. I like Giuseppe Camuncoli, but he's got like 5 different styles, and this one was one that I didn't really dig as much as his other styles. It looked very loose and rushed or something like these
yeah.
pages. What'd you think of this one?
Yeah, I didn't quite get the story. I don't know if it's kind of to raise mental health awareness or something,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I guess you have to read it there, and I'm not kind of sure what the issues are in going on there. But I guess at the end, Spider-Man saves her, and then she seems to be able to kind of get some rest, and that's it. So
Yeah, I think this had the least to do with Spider-Man out of every story in here. I felt like, right? He was kind of like a passing character in the story about her, like you said. Maybe the point that they were trying to make, because she's hallucinating and she sees Spider-Man and she thinks he's an actual spider, and like, yeah, it was fine. It was probably one of my least favorite stories in here, though. I felt out of place. I think with the
yeah, yeah, kind of felt out of place. I'd say that for sure.
yeah, let's say that. Then you had this one, which was by Terry Dodson, and I think Rachel Dodson, and I think his wife, maybe on Inks. I don't know. Hold on, I think these are both the Dodsons. Yeah, it's both of them. Kurt Busiek writing this. This is Slaves of the Witch Queen, and Kurt Busiek, of course, he's a guy who like has like an encyclopedic knowledge of like DC and Marvel stuff. So he pulled some like backup story from Amazing Fantasy Fit, like their first appearance of
Yeah,
2015, from like that no one, I guess, has ever referenced, because it's like about some Egyptian like witch queen person, and I don't know. This was an oddball. I felt too. What'd you think of this?
yeah. It's once again, this wasn't. It was a nice looking story. It kind of had my interest in there for a bit, but I guess it was just more interesting that it was, a sequel to a backup story from 60 years ago. And, I guess that had some cachet to it. But other than that, not much else here.
Yeah, it was one of those clever things where he's like, "Hey, I bet you don't remember this." Yeah, because no, no one cares to remember this story. It's just, it's one of those things where it's, I guess, clever in that sense. But the visuals were good. Again, even the stories I didn't dig. I thought all the artists, for the most part, did a great job on this issue. They brought in, they brought their A talent. So the Dodsons are definitely good artists. So, yeah, it was fine. This was fucking awesome. Okay, so this is Hickman. Okay, and I don't know what this Hickman voice is that he writes a good fucking Spider-Man though. Like this is like he actually had. I feel like Hickman, like his characters are usually cold and disconnected, and they don't really have a lot of personality. That was not the case here. You had a bunch of multiverse kind of Spider-Mans in this story here.
Yeah, there's hundreds of them.
Yeah, and Marco Cicchetto on art. Jesus Christ, this looked better than the Daredevil stuff. He killed this fucking short. This is.
You got the first page, and there's one page there where they just got a whole bunch of different panels of Spider-Man, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, he destroyed this. The art. This is probably I think the best looking story in the whole issue.
They got to do some guest issues in ASM or something.
What a standout. Great story too. I mean, this was him.
It was a good story. Yeah, it was kind of a fun story that didn't look so fun.
Yeah, no, it was awesome though. It was him basically talking to other versions of himself, and it's funny because they were kind of busting his balls about how I
guess this is his first time meeting the multiversal Spider-Man or something.
And they're talking about how much more successful they are. And then they're like, "Oh no, you're just pulling your chain." They
waited a long time before they did that. Like I was hooked. Like okay, maybe this is the only bad Spider-Man out there. And then they all pull the rug. Don't worry, buddy, we all suck.
That's what I mean. It was really funny. I was like, every now and then I was like, who knew Hickman could be funny like this? I thought it was good. And yeah, like I said, the best looking, I think, out of all, which is high praise because, like I said, there's been a lot of great artists on this issue, but this looked awesome. Yeah, I again, he didn't phone this one in. I don't. Marco Cicchetto's on Daredevil, but this was something else. This story, yeah. So, all right, then we move on to. I think this was the one this next one. Yeah, this is the Neil Gaiman written one with Steve McNiven on art. This is probably my second favorite. Maybe that Hickman one. I literally liked this. This was about Neil Gaiman's experience meeting Steve Ditko, the creator of Spider-Man, the artist, along with Stan Lee of Spider-Man. And he kind of inserted like a little bit of talking to his own hero in his head, Spider-Man, while being at the apartment. So it's kind of like a fantasy mixed with like actual, like an actual thing that happened to him when he met Steve Ditko. So I really enjoyed this. How about you?
Yeah, I think it was a bit over my head, but I kind of enjoyed the idea of the story. And once again, I thought the art for this one was, it's just great again.
Yeah. I like too how Steve McNiven here, he actually captured the underwebs under his arm there as you see him fly. Because that's something I think that a lot of people forget is that Ditko and artists back when the Spider-Man actually, like the older Spider-Man issues, like he actually had like a web underneath his arm.
And like back then it was just more of a stylistic drawing. There was no freaking magic power to it or anything nowadays. Didn't make him fly or anything. It was just that's the way he drew Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And now you got to freaking retcon these webs under his arms. It's like, come on.
I just think some artists like choose to add that back in, but it's never been a constant thing. So I thought that this being Amazing Fantasy and them referencing Steve Ditko, I was like, okay, that's a nice touch. I was like, that's really cool. Like, so I agree. The art was great in this. I really did enjoy the story as well. But yeah, I think the Slott one is probably my favorite, probably followed by the Hickman one or this. So yeah, those. But there you go. We just talked about 8 stories, and there's this really last one here as well, which was this one here was a tribute to a script that a person that from Marvel offices wrote, Mike Pasquillo. I guess he was an editor, I guess, that was helping put this together, and he ended up passing. And this is something that he wrote, a series that the Spider-Man miniseries, I guess, that he wrote, which they never got to produce, but they took a few pages, like 4 pages or something, I think, of the script that he wrote. And Todd Knock drew it, who's a good artist as well. And basically, it's something where there's like another hero that's named Rhino that he's training, but it's not Rhino, the villain.
Yeah.
It was nothing special, but it's cool that they did it because it's something that was I
Yeah,
thought
it's a tribute.
it was a nice tribute. Yeah, I think it was like, okay, this is something that could have been but wasn't, and it's something nicer that they've done for, like, than some of their main creators that worked for them. So the fact that this must have been like an editor or something that was really beloved, because I thought that was kind of cool of them to do. I was like, that's really nice. So yeah, I'm not gonna talk shit about it. It is what it is, but
Yeah, I think that's a great line as when, with great powers come great responsibilities. And then his protege, when he goes, oh, so with mediocre powers come mediocre responsibilities. Like,
right.
no, we got to try.
That's right. Yeah, but there you go. I mean, out of like the 8 main stories, though, like I said, about at least half of them I thought were really, really good. And I mean, like, Spider-Man's been really good lately. The fact that this kind of one shot of Amazing Fantasy with all Spider-Man anthology type stories with top tier creators. I mean, like Hickman,
Yeah.
Gaiman. Like, there's some good people on here. I mean, like, look at the
Like,
artist.
nobody phoned it in either. Everybody came out, swinging.
Yeah, yeah. So this was really excellent. And I'm somebody who doesn't like anthologies, as I've said on the show here before, for the most part, just because of the fact that you get such a mixed bag of quality from them. But this was overall more good than not, I would say. In this, there was a couple that
like I wasn't really expecting much out of this at all. Like, it was Amazing Spider-Man for 1,000, and like there's a real no number count to this Amazing Spider-Man or Amazing Fantasy, anyways. They just kind of threw out that 1,000 number there, it seems.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes they put out these books and they put a $10 price tag on it or something. This was an $8 price tag, and it's a bunch of just baloney. Like, and so yeah, I'm glad that we did end up picking this up, and I'm definitely gonna keep that in my collection. It was a good issue.
yeah, definitely keep that. I liked it.
What'd you give
I'll
this
give
one?
it 4.25.
That's what I was about to say, 4.25, which is actually really high for an anthology.
For
Because
anthology,
if I give a 4 or more than a 4 to an anthology, like, the only reason I can't give it more is because, like, there was a couple of stories that brought the rating down, right? But if I had to, like, pick a specific story in there, I could have give close to a 5 on a couple of those, honestly. Like, there was some really good singular stories in there. The Dan Slott,
yeah, like, a few of those stories there, if they got fleshed out into an arc or something, I'd be down for it. Like two of them at least, like the Mary Jane and Peter Parker one, and the Hickman one where he's in space or whatever, meeting all the other Spider-Man. If that turned into something, I'd be down for something like that.
yeah. All right, well, there you go, guys. That'll do it for our weekly books. Hey, look, we filled in 40 minutes, so not bad. That's not bad, actually. I'm glad we broke down that Amazing Fantasy the way we did in that sense.
Yeah, so I'm kind of glad it came out on an off week, so we had a chance to really dive deep on it.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. It worked out. But yeah, we got a few other quick segments here for you guys of things we can talk about, though, to fill up the rest of the usual show time here. A couple of things. Here, do you want me to show off a couple of Toronto Fan Expo pickups? So, a couple other things here.
Yeah, sure. Hear about the rest of your weekend there, because I just picture you sitting eating burritos with Todd, Sean. I don't know who are the other writers there. Ryan Stegman there, all just chewing the fat about what's going on in the comic world.
That's right. Yeah, we're talking about comic shop talk. You're like, hey, when are you coming on the show, guys? No. Yeah, no, it was a good weekend. I met a few new creators that I ended up getting some art from. I know I showed off a couple of things on the last episode, and got to have some good conversation with some folks, like more local artists that are there in previous years. I mean, this is like I said, my first time in 3 years that I went to a show, so it was nice to catch up with some people and have some chats and all that. And this is something I picked up. This is Michael Walsh. This is called The Sleep Stories. He self-published this. He put out these stories, like he's the artist and writer of The Silver Coin, like that's his book. So these are also like kind of like scary stories that he wrote and drew during like the pandemic. I guess he wrote down some like nightmare type stuff he may have been experiencing at the time, or got inspiration from, like scary dream type stuff. So hence the name of The Sleep Stories. So he was putting that out online for people to read, I think during the pandemic. And at the time he was doing, I think, ramping up to do Silver Coin. So he had like a lot of horror type stuff on his mind. So I always like picking things like that up from creators tables that are, so they self-publish stuff that sometimes they bring it to the show and stuff like that. So it's kind of unique. It's something that you kind of really get from like a comic book shop type of thing, right? So I try to pick up things like that from the show if I can, or I picked up a bunch of random ass issues from like a dollar bin too that was there. Or I guess a $2 bin, I should say, because like, you know, you can't even find dollar boxes at the con. Like there's so many people trying to rip people off, but like the shit I picked up isn't worth showing off. Like it's like random weird shit that again I don't normally see, or like they don't reprint, like because it's probably like 90s craft stuff that I'm picking up that I'm amused by, like some of that stuff. So I look for weird things like that I've never checked out before when I'm at the show. And if you're paying $2 an issue, it's not like a huge loss. So I'll take the flyer on some stuff, right? But I'll show off a couple other commissions things because that's usually what I like doing at the show, is picking up some art stuff. I have a Doctor Strange sketchbook. There's an artist named Joshua Hickson that I got. This is the only new addition to the Doctor Strange sketchbook that I did at this show. I get different artists to do their interpretation of the classic Doctor Strange, like however they draw it. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, got some.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, so Joshua Hickson is the artist of that. New like more up and coming guy right now, but I really enjoyed that. That was a good addition to the Doctor Strange sketchbook. I'll show off Christine's too. Christine got one in her book. She's got a Harley Quinn sketchbook, and there's an artist named Sweeney Boo that did this Harley for her.
Nice.
Yeah. So she's got basically the same idea, just different artists draw Harley for her. So I know you've seen it before, Chris, but yeah, there's those. So those are our new additions to the sketchbook, and I got a couple other commissions here I'll show off for pickups. But yeah, it was a good rest of the show. I mean, I worked the show, as I mentioned. I worked Saturday and Sunday. While those are usually like the busier days of the show, Saturday being usually the busiest, I gotta say, like, I don't know if it's because the prices went up or just is this the first show back post pandemic, but the Saturday, while busy, wasn't as crazy, I feel like, as previous years. So yeah, I mean, like there was nothing wrong with that, but I was working at a booth Saturday and Sunday, and I walked the floor Thursday and Friday as a fan. And other than just picking up my artwork that was done throughout the weekend on Saturday and Sunday, like from the artists when they actually were done, I didn't really get to walk the floor that much on Saturday, Sunday. I just worked, but it's kind of cool to work from the retailer side and interact with people behind the booth and answer questions about comics and talk comic stuff. And like I said, those are typically busier days, so it's nice to be off the floor for them. So this is the Thing commission I got.
Nice.
Yeah, that's by Tom Riley. He's currently drawing, I think, the Ant-Man book miniseries that's coming out from Marvel, but he did a Thing miniseries previous to that. So I asked him to do a Thing for me, and all I said is I want him smoking this cigar because you don't really see it in the comics anymore. So I got him to do that. And this is probably my most probably the best piece I picked up throughout the weekend. And the artist posted it online, and he actually emailed me and he asked me if I could scan him a copy of this because he wants to put it in his next like sketchbook that he puts together and sells at cons, because it's been getting a lot of great a lot of people have really enjoyed it after he posted it online. And he really enjoyed doing it because he said, thank you for picking this character. I really had a lot of fun doing it, and he absolutely killed it. And this is a Jonah Hex commission that I got.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, that's Alvaro Martinez Bueno. He's the artist on Nice House on the Lake with James Tynan right now. It's a very popular book, and I guess he's making a name for himself as the artist on that book currently. But yeah, I love that one. That one he fucking absolutely killed it. Yeah, so I'm happy with all the art pieces I picked up, but that Jonah Hex is very nice. I really like that one. So super nice guy, all really nice creators. So yeah, those are just a few more things I picked up from Fan Expo. But yeah, no other experiences other than to say, yeah, I picked up a few things. I had a good time. On the Saturday, on the Friday, went out for some wings and beers for lunch. So came back to the show a little tipsy. So that was fun. I sat in on a panel of Sean Murphy talking about his career, like got to hear him talk about his his career and like what he's been working on and stuff like that. So that was fun. And yeah, I will say the one takeaway going back to a show this year though is that I've seen the trend, or it's been really happening over the last few years. I guess this is just like being back for the first time. I had seen a lot more of it this year. Is that a lot of people are now charging for signatures, and like the landscape of the people that ended up like resellers and people flippers and this stuff has really fucking destroyed the landscape of getting to kind of just get free signatures and talk to people. Like I respect if the artists want to do that or the writers, because that's another revenue stream for them and to make sure you get money to go for a show. But I feel like if the people weren't reselling this kind of stuff, that they wouldn't have been pushed in this direction to do this, because before you could get anybody's signature for free, some artists and creators, they still refuse to charge for them because they feel like these are their fans. They're the ones buying their books. Like we're really supporting them in that sense. Right. So, but others, there's a lot of big name creators that were charging for their signatures, right? And some of them do the good thing where it's like, if you bring 3 things, it's free. If you want more than that, though, we're going to charge you, which makes sense. Because if I bring something to a creator I want to talk to at the show, which I don't get many signatures these days anyways, I'll bring like 1 or 2 things. I'm not one of these fucking assholes that brings like a whole short box of stuff to get signed. Because
I can imagine some guy brings 5 issues of the same thing. Hey, can you sign these? There's not going for the personal collection.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. And then like the story that I told last week about Sean Murphy, for instance, that like I brought one of his older books and he sketched in it for me. Like those are interactions, you know what I mean? Those are nice interactions that you get from these people for this kind of stuff, I felt like. And I think you're going to see a lot less of that kind of stuff happening now because of the fact that a lot of people are charging and that the expectation is there and that they expect a lot of these people are paying because they're going to go and flip these books, which there is a lot of that going on. So it's just, I don't like that it's trending in that direction. And then now a lot of people are doing these things called remarks. So they're like little sketches that like before, again, same thing. Sometimes you bring a book to the show. There'd be an artist that you ask to sign and they'll be, yeah, I give you a little doodle in the book, right? Of like whatever, like a Batman head or something like that. And now the same thing. They're charging for these things called remarks. And especially with the US artists that are they have reps, like artist reps, like basically that do their business for them when they come to the show, that are charging like upwards of like some of these guys, like I was saying, like the Sean Murphy was charging $100 for a remark. And it's a little fucking half-ass doodle that takes him 2 seconds, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't like that. I get that. Again, they're making money. Like, it's a business, I think, decision for them. And they have people that they hire to do this shit for them at the shows, but it's, I don't know. I don't like that practice of like, I think that there's like, I think you're making it so some people now you won't get to have interactions with a lot of your fans as a result, honestly, because they already paying a lot of money to go to these shows. Like I exhibit at the show, so I haven't paid for a badge in some time, but the price is pretty expensive now to get into these shows, right? And then you're paying to get into the show to see these people. And then like a guy like Tom King, you gotta fucking then pay $7 to get his signature, right? I don't know. Like I get it. Like some people look at it like, hey, stars can do it on TV. Why can't we? Right. But it's not, I don't know. I think you lose something. I think you lose a little bit of the personal kind of connection of these guys being writers and artists that you read and support on a monthly basis. And then you go to the show and now like you gotta pay to play kind of. I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me. Maybe, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think anything about that?
Well,
Like,
like I said, I've never been to a con, so it's hard for me to say.
right.
And I don't know.
Yeah, I just feel strongly about it in that sense a little bit, just because I've experienced it and I've seen these things happen over time, right? So
Like if it's a token fee, like you're saying, like $5-10, that's not bad. But if it's like you want like $50 for a signature or something, like whoa, easy now.
yeah, and I think that's what you're getting from some of these guys, right? But all power to them. If that's, I'm not gonna knock them for trying to make a few bucks, but it's not something I like seeing, right? So it's just. I was having a conversation, like I said, with Michael Walsh, for instance, and that's what he said. He's like, I just can't do it. He's like, I don't want to. Like, he's like, I feel wrong for charging for my signature. And yeah, we kind of went back and forth with that. I'm like, I agree with your stance on that. I feel the same way, but I mean, like, that's your choice, and I'm not gonna be mad at them for making that choice either. But I think also you have a lot of the flippers and the people that are kind of trended us in this direction of blame for that
Well, that's
too.
it. You put a signature on a copy, now it's worth $200-300 more. Why should
Yeah.
this guy that's, coming in there get that money when it's your signature that's making it valuable?
Right. Which is why I like the people. Majority of what I see though is the one where it says 1 or 3 things I'll sign free, but then everything after that is that I agree with. I think that's a good policy because, like I said, I was never one to bring many things to a show to get signed. So if I bring a book that I like of yours and you're willing to sign that, then that's fine with me, right? But anyways, I can go on and on about that, just personal gripes, I guess. But yeah,
Well, I mean, if you're signing everything for a price, then it almost devalues your signature, because it's not that hard to get something signed by you. You just go to the store or you go to one of these cons.
yeah.
You pay $20 now. It's like, it's not a super long lineup to wait because it's pay to play. And, but like you say, I might take out 50% of the people that would be willing to get a signature where there'd be a line, an hour lineup, say, for one of these people. Now you probably just walk up there and get it done quick.
Yeah, I just feel like when they do this type of thing and they have signing times and they have somebody collecting the money and they have a rep and a business guy now controlling the line, though, I think what it turns into is almost like it's like a meat market. And it's kind of like you can't really get those interactions that you're maybe hoping for.
Well, yeah, every guy's okay. Move along, buddy. We got another person to sign here.
That's what I mean. That's the mentality. I don't like that because like before it was just like, this is a fucking regular Joe. Yeah, he's a comic book writer, but he's a down to earth person most of the time where you can actually go and have a conversation with him at his table because he's just sitting around signing things, talking to folks. Right now it's like they've hyped it up where like, they're trying to like, hey, this guy's a rock star. Like, move it along, man. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like,
you're a rock star in this world, but this is a pretty small part of the world here.
That's what I mean. I think I think this is going to be one of those things that the bubble's going to burst. Like we've seen it before happen in the comic industry. So I wouldn't be surprised if it happens in that sense either. Right. So anyways, but go out there, enjoy the cons, guys. I'm glad to be back. I did enjoy myself a lot. And we'll look forward to next year. Very quickly, too, wanted to mention this recent read. I thought you might be interested in this, Chris. It just came out this week. This is the special slipcase edition that came out, but which is like, I think 2,500 of these were printed, like previews exclusive. But they also have the regular edition, which is the book without the slipcase. This is Fantastic Four, full circle.
Ooh, nice.
Alex Ross. This is the first sequential storytelling pages Alex Ross has done in like, I think over 10 years or something. Like he's done like short stories, like for anthologies and stuff like that here and there. But this is the first full story of his art that's come out. I think it's only like 64 pages or something like that, but this is a glorious looking book, guys. The art on this and Alex Ross on this. I was reading something about this, an article about this. He kind of was saying that he was trying to push himself on this, and he's gone away from his painted style a little bit, like his photorealistic, like painted style. He's drawing a lot of this one, just without the painting technique. But the art looks great. Like he's trying to do like a Kirby thing because of the Fantastic Four. This was a lot of fun. If you like Fantastic Four, you're like Alex Ross. Really great artwork. I know that you're a fan, Chris. And
when we first saw this, I thought this was going to be the new Fantastic Four because that's restarting or it's relaunching again. And I thought he was going to be doing some issue like, oh wow, it's going to be amazing. But then I read further and it was a trade or a graphic novel or something. But it looks great.
It's a nice hardcover though. Yeah, you don't even have to get the slipcase. If you get the regular book, it just looks like this. It has a dust jacket like unfolds and it kind of gives you like a little bio on the Fantastic Four. And I don't know if this is specific to this edition with the slipcase, but in the back there's like a pocket and it's got a bunch of prints as well. It might be specific to the slipcase edition, like it has like a bunch of smaller prints of Alex Ross art. But yeah, if you're an Alex Ross fan or a Fantastic Four fan, this is a must own. I really enjoyed this. It just came out this week and I read it right away. Really good because you don't get to see Alex Ross other than on covers that often these days, right? So yeah, very cool. I wanted to show that off. And yeah. All right. What else we got here today? A couple of in the news articles here. Chris, Chris is actually the one that put me on to this here. New Black Cat and Mary Jane series by Jed McKay. Really looking forward to that. New mini series that's coming out.
I hope it's done in the same vein as that one shot they put out a while ago, because that was a fun issue.
Yeah, I'm sure it was based off of that they got the got people looking for this. More Jed McKay stuff I'm always down for, especially if it's as good as that Mary Jane Black Cat one shot, because that was excellent. Yeah, absolutely. I'm here for it. It's coming out in December. I'm definitely interested in picking this up.
And somehow to that big dark web, I guess, event that's going on with Spider-Man 2.
That's right.
Spider-Man
Yeah,
and X-Men, from what I think.
spins out of dark web. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, here just showing off the here's the cover. It'll load up here. Yeah, there you go. J. Scott Campbell. This is the regular cover to it. Mary Jane and Black Cat miniseries. Yeah, so really looking forward to that. Spinning out a dark web. Jed McKay. Not familiar with the artist on this book, Vincenzo Caruto. So hopefully that's good. I don't know if that's the same artist that did that one shot or not, but if it was, that looked pretty good. So I'm down with that. So yeah, really looking forward to this. And thanks for bringing it to my attention, Chris. I didn't hear about this, man. This is awesome. I'm really excited for this one. So yeah, very cool. Then we got let's see here. The other piece of news I wanted to bring up here is in the news this week, DC's Hispanic Heritage Month covers, which I think are coming out in September here. One of the artists, George Molina, shared, I think on Twitter or somewhere online, he shared the fact that there was an original cover that he submitted to DC because I think he's Mexican or Hispanic, or they basically hired him because of that, because he did something, I think, that's related to like some Mexican piece of art or something like that. He was basing his cover on something, I heard. And DC went and made a couple of adjustments to it. So he was kind of, I think, getting out in front of this and telling people online, hey, this is the one I submitted. And this is what DC went with next month. So here you go. And it's caused a lot of criticism, I think, from fans towards DC for their choices. And they've now announced, I think this may have just been announced today or in the last day, they're canceling this cover. Like, it's not going to see the light of day, apparently. It was supposed to come out later this month, but they're now going to go with the original submitted cover that the artist submitted instead of the one that I guess been circulating online. So here, I'll show you guys.
You want to post this? DC might be coming after us now.
That's all right. Okay, so here I'll show what's going on here. Hold on. This is the wrong one I wanted to share, so 1 second. Yeah, so and then they were kind of, after this one made the rounds, they were then looking at all the other covers that they had planned for this month, and someone had pointed out the fact that all of the covers shared the fact that they're all trying to associate it with Mexican food. Like, they're like, can't you guys come up with other ideas? Like, they're all, each cover, like the characters are holding tacos, or like, they're like, it's like something like that. And of course, the people that are mostly getting offended about this are people that aren't like you know what I mean? Like, it's the people that really have no right probably to say, like, to butt in on this, like, hey, this is offensive to me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so, but whatever. I mean, it is kind of offensive. Look at this cover. I mean, it really is. Like, so this is not this one. This is the one the artist submitted. So yeah, very, very cool. It's got the flag behind him and everything. Okay, this is what they went with, DC. This is so if you look there, he's holding a plastic bag that says tamales, and the tamales are floating out of the bag. And then the flag's like, Viva Mexico.
Come on. How would they?
Right?
How can they go with that over the other one?
That's pretty tone deaf. Yeah, I agree. It really is.
Like, especially if it's where, like, whatever, Hispanic heritage or something like that.
Yeah, so this was for the Hispanic heritage. So they're now going with this image. Like, this is the one.
I better relook at the rest of their covers then.
Yeah, there's a few others. I mean, we probably didn't click on them when we were doing the previews for September, if we were doing that feature at that time, but yeah, or noticed. But yeah, this was pretty crazy. This is pretty crazy. That's the one that. So I'm glad that the artist is now getting the chance to actually go with his original idea. Someone who I think is Mexican, they said, like, this was like, you know what I mean? It meant a lot to him that he was doing this, and now good for him. I mean, if he put this out online, and as a result, I don't know if DC is going to continue to hire this guy as a result, but you know, I'm sure that the scrutiny is coming down on them as a result. Maybe they won't be able to do nothing to him because he wasn't in the wrong. He was just literally just sharing, like, hey, here's the original cover. He actually didn't post it and be like, hey, look at what they're fucking doing. He was just doing a comparison of like, hey, this is what I submitted and this is what DC's going with. Here's the cover, guys. But I'm sure he must have knew that was going to ruffle some feathers, because like as soon as that hit the news, like CNN had wrote a fucking article about it. So because they were like, what is up with DC and all these covers? Like literally every cover, there's a few other ones that are doing the rounds now that after this one got attention. They're all like holding tacos in every cover. It's like I don't know. I can't remember the other ones, but let's say it's the Flash, for instance. He's like zipping by eating a taco or something. Yeah, it's so Hispanic. So yeah, so it's pretty funny. I don't know if all the other artists were actually, you know, Hispanic or not, and maybe it was just this guy, but yeah, I'm glad that they went with this cover as well, the one he submitted though. But yeah, it's pretty funny stuff. So there you go. It happens, guys. I'm not excusing it, but it's pretty crazy that the whole tamale bag aspect of it.
I can imagine, like, I don't know who that has to go through to say, okay, let's get rid of this flag. And what is he holding, the Green Lantern or the Lantern ring?
Yeah.
And you go, we're going to replace that with a bag of tamale. Like, come on.
I know. It's like ridiculous. I know. I can't believe it, man. So yeah, there you go. All right. So we also finally wanted to do we wanted to check in. It's been a few months, as we do kind of quarterly on the show here. We wanted to check in and let you know some of our 5 current series that are coming out right now that we've been enjoying. And you know, it's a fun segment that we've done a few times now, and every few months we want to check in and let you know what our top 5 favorite things that have been coming out lately that we've been reading is. And it'll also help, I think, towards the end of the year, if we were to go back and take a look at maybe some things that we were really vibing on at the time that might help in terms of us picking our favorite things of the year, right, as well. So I figured it's a good chance to document it. So Chris, did you want to, let's do one for one here. Why don't you start us off with your first
well, I'm happy to say Amazing Spider-Man is one of my favorite things I'm reading.
That's right. Yeah. It's been really great.
You know, a flagship comic, you know, doing well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with you, Chris. This is one of my picks as well. I didn't do them in any specific order, but this is probably high ranking on this top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
I love Spider-Man. We both do, and we've been saying it a lot lately. When it's good, it's good, and it's been real good ever since the whole Ben Reilly last series that they had, the Beyond era, ended. I've just been really enjoying this comic. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So I can't.
The only negative I have to say now is, since that Amazing Fantasy, is that you can see what it could be if certain people got on board or something. Like, not to say that John Romita Jr. is bad, but there's a lot of good people out there too that if they could find the time. Or
I agree with you, but a lot of those artists that you saw in that issue are not monthly artists that put out work. That's the problem.
I know.
It's guys that aren't fast enough to pump out a monthly issue. So they're like, hey, can you give us 6 pages? Yeah, okay, I can do that. Right. So like, I'm with you though. I think it's one of those things where if you allow these artists to take the time to actually draw a story arc for them, that it's something that they can do. But instead, we got the Mark Bagleys and the John Romita Jr.'s, because these guys are fast pencilers, right? They're not inking it or anything like that. So they're pumping out these books. But you're right. I think that as a result, you don't get the super quality as you would some of these other artists, right? Like, it's good. Like, I've been enjoying the John Romita art too, but you know, it's not like you know, fucking Marco Cicchetto, Jim Chung, like Ryan Stegman, like, right? Like those are artists, right? For Spider-Man. So yeah, it's a shame. I agree with you though. I agree 100%. All right. So what's next there? What do you got for your 4th pick?
My next pick was Batman.
2nd pick.
Well, yeah. I didn't know if I wanted to go with Batman or the Flashpoint Beyond Batman or Batman Beyond the White Knight. They've all been good, but I'm happy that once again another flagship title, Batman, with the new the new direction seems to be okay so far.
Very good pick. Yeah, with a lot of the couple of issues that Zdarsky's put out so far have been really, really good. I agree with you there. I also picked a Batman book, but I went with Batman, the other Chip Zdarsky Batman Midnight, which has just gotten better and better. I remember when this first came out, I trashed this book. I said I was probably dropping it within 2 issues, and I ended up sticking around once I heard Chip Zdarsky was the new writer of the main Batman book, because I was like, maybe there's going to be something where it's important that
Yeah.
he read this for his run. So I was like, okay, I'll stick with it because it's a 10-issue series. Man, was I wrong in this book. What I thought was going to be like another like weird, simple, like not weird, simple, basic kind of origin story for Batman, seeing him put on the suit that I think we've seen a million times before, is anything but. He's not put on the suit once. He's traveling the world. They're telling interesting stories every issue with a different aspect of him that before he became Batman, the reason like why he's Batman, and it's just been great. Every issue has gotten better and better. I think it's going to be a great series when it's all collected, and it honestly did not expect it to be like my favorite Batman book. It's the one that's different than everything else. Like, I mean, there's a bunch of different Batman stories, but this one's been, I think, the most unique, let's say, out of everything that's been coming out right now. So, because it's just Bruce, right? It's not him as Batman yet. So it's been really great. All right, what's your next one, Chris?
Well, Max one was kind of almost a tie because they're both sort of in the same league, let's say. But it was the Hulk and Thor, that Banner War, and I had to kind of decide which one, because even Thor has been doing well, and so has Hulk. But I've been really enjoying the Hulk issues. Since this series started, it started a little bit crazy, but then it kind of went to a weird crazy, and then with the Banner War thrown in there, I think it's just been kind of knocking it out of the park for each arc that they've gone through, and see what else they got in store.
Yeah. Yeah, good one. I actually went back to check what our last 5 were prior to recording because I was just curious after I made my picks. And Thor and Hulk were both on our list the last time we did this. And the only reason it didn't make my list this time, either book, is because there's just been that delay. Because right when we talked about it last time, they were just about to start off the Banner Hulk, the Hulk war there. They were just about to start it. The last time we did it was like 3 months ago, our top 5 or whatever. And it's just been very delayed. So I don't feel I've gotten as many issues other than that event of those series, right, to put it on my list. But I agree with you. It's been good. It's still been good. I think it's still one of my favorite things coming out. But I went with my next pick, the Silver Coin. I think it's been really hitting its stride these last few issues. And again, I'm not a big, huge anthology guy, but I talked about 2 good anthologies here tonight, and this is one of them, right? This has been very, very good lately. I think especially the last few issues have probably been the best issues of the series as of yet. Always great artwork and really good one and done stories being told in that one. So I've really been enjoying the Silver Coin lately.
Nice. And what do we got next? My next one is Poison Ivy. I was surprised that I've been really enjoying that one.
Nice.
And I guess that's moving on to from was it a 6-issue series? I think they're stretching out to 12. We've talked about that before, and it's just a good story in there. Like kind of she's out there trying to kill everybody in the world and see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, it must be popular, the fact that they've extended its run, right? That's really good. Yeah, I know. That sounds good, actually. I might have to check that out once it's collected because that has sounded good. Uh, yeah, I didn't give it in my last round of top 5s, but I think the first time we did our top 5 current reads, it was in my list then. I guess for whatever reason at that time, the issues I read around the last time we gave top 5 weren't doing it for me. But lately, once again, this has been firing on all cylinders, and that's Nightwing. I think this has been excellent lately. Even Chris, who begrudgingly doesn't like Nightwing, or so he says, has been enjoying this book lately, guys. So you got to give it up for this. I mean, it's just been a lot of fun. The main artist when he's working on this title, is Bruno Redondo, is a great artist. I think that fits this book well. I think I really like Tom Taylor. He's one of my favorite writers currently in comics. So yeah, it's been really good. I think it's especially this past current story arc has been excellent. So I gotta give it to Nightwing. Oh,
Nice. I guess my last one that I've been enjoying. I guess I'd have a lot of honorable mentions, but I have to say Avengers Forever with all the kind of the crazy stories there of all the alternate or other Universal Avengers. That's it's just doing that. It's doing it right. And I guess since you have the regular Avengers story that's doing it wrong to compare it against, makes it that much better almost.
nice. Yeah, that has looked really interesting. Again, that's another book that whenever you talk about it, I was like, ah, fuck, I should be reading this. Yeah, especially like you said, the last few issues you've been talking about, it sounds like it's been really amping up. It's good stuff. My last book, though, in my list, of course, should come as no surprise. It's Do a Power Bomb. We're 3 issues in. I love this series. I love the art. I love the story. Yeah, it's just good it's comic book goodness right here, man. This is I was already excited about this when it first got announced, just because I'm a fan of the artist and writer of this book. But it's it's involving wrestling. It's involving like a whole bunch of fantasy aspects to it as well. So yeah, I'm digging it. I really like what they're delivering, and it's been excellent. 3 issues in, I think I've given it my favorite of the week. I think maybe every issue that's come out. So it's one of my favorite things for sure that's been coming out as of lately in current reads. And if you were talking about honorable mentions there, Chris, you said you might have had a couple of those. I did want to throw out the line of the X-Men titles we've been reading lately, because that didn't make my list just because every different book has a varying degree of like how much I like it. But I think a lot of the going into acts, I think a lot of it has been really consistent. And I think between Immortal X-Men, X-Men Red, and X-Men especially, I think there's been a lot of good stuff happening in the X-Men books post Hickman.
Yeah, I'm liking the X Men too. And one thing I might start reading, I just kind of read a copy online, is 2000 AD. It's a lot of Judge Dredd stories, but
Yeah,
they're all like Twilight Zone stories, where there's a little twist at the end, or they're very satirical, or sometimes you get Dredd where, he's doing something that's sort of not popular, but it's the law, and some tries and calls him out on it, and he's like, well, until you change the law, I am the law, and all that sort of stuff. I might get back into that. Like I haven't read any of my old Dread comics, and
oh,
he
you
still
haven't?
hasn't changed. They're awesome. I'm either start buying them or at least read them online regularly now.
I do have a few trade paperbacks of Judge Dredd. Lately, they've been coming out 2000 AD. I've been coming out with these things called Judge Dredd Essentials, which are
Yeah,
basically the best of Judge Dredd. Essentially, they come out with 4 volumes of it so far. So I've been buying those slowly, and I haven't read all of them, but what I've read so far is some really good stuff. I agree with you. Yeah, Judge Dredd is an awesome character, and I need to read more of as well. So that's really cool that you tried to jump in. You jumped in on the current 2000 AD, I guess, stuff that's been coming out.
yeah.
Eh?
Because I don't think like this isn't an ongoing story of like Judge Dredd's adventures. It's just all little. I think there's like 4 stories in the issue, so they're all little one shots, kind
Yep.
of little Twilight Zone type stories. But there's always some crazy twist at the end, or some satire, some parody of something and out there. And since
Very
it's not such a big deal, they can really kind of push stuff out there, with not being too worried about, any sort of fallout or anything like that.
right, right. Yeah, because it's a different world that Judge Dredd lives in, right? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, like you said, it's a lot of politically driven type shit, satirical type stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's cool, man. I'm glad to hear that because yeah, I really I should read more of him too, as well. Like I said, I've been buying these with the purpose of having some good Judge Dredd on the shelf, right? But I've honestly only read, I think I've only read like maybe 1 or 2 Judge Dredd like books, like full stories, and my whole time collecting, right? And I've heard that a lot from folks is that 2000 AD has been putting out great stuff for a long time. It's just North American audiences aren't as familiar with that stuff, right? So I think it's a hard sell for some, but yeah, it's some good stuff there. Nice. Yeah, there you have it, guys. Those are our top 5 favorite current reads that we're reading, series that we're checking out. And stay tuned. I think the next time we'll be talking about this will be at the end of the year, going into our little award ceremony that we plan to put together here. We'll be giving out some awards to some of our favorite things throughout the year, and and maybe some stuff that wasn't so great too. We'll have to give out the award for worst issue, this kind of stuff, like the Razzies.
That's it.
All right, Chris. What are you picking up next week, my friend?
Okay, next week. Bit of a bigger week, but it looks like I'm getting Punisher 6, She-Hulk 6, the Spider-Man 2099 Omega, maybe Immortal X-Men 6. I'm not sure. I was looking at my pull list. I don't know if I pulled it. I don't know if I was trying to cut down my list or not. But anyways, Batman 127, Dark Crisis 4, The Flashpoint Beyond 5, Poison Ivy 4, and there's the Dark Knights of Steel, Tales of the Otherworld. I don't think I pulled it, so I'm not sure. Maybe I'll just read that online too.
Yeah, it's called Dark Knights of Steel: Tales from the Three Kingdoms. So it's gonna be. I think it's like I think a one shot spinoff of.
I read online if it's really good, or if something special going on in there, I might buy it. But
Yeah,
maybe I was trying to cut down my list after having some big August or July pull lists.
Yeah, if it makes you feel any better, it does look like it is. It's various teams of writers on this issue telling stories. It's not just all Tom Taylor helming it. Looks like so. I guess it will be an anthology of them telling stories of different kingdoms in the story that they've established so far, like a Game of Thrones type deal, right? So it sounds so. So yeah, I'm picking that up. Dark Crisis 4, Batman 127, Flashpoint Beyond as well. Immortal X-Men 6, Punisher 6, and X-Men Unlimited Green #2 if it's still coming out next week. So yeah, not again, it's a smaller week for me. I think I only got like 7 issues next week. So yeah, it's not too bad. The week after this, though, is fucking huge. So stay tuned, guys. I think that's one of those like 15 issue type weeks, unfortunately, because once you get the 5th week going, it means that there's always a big week coming, like in a couple of weeks. That's usually how it works when everything ends up getting sent out on the same week as a result, right? So, yeah, that's gonna be another big one right there. I looked ahead already, and I'm like, oh. So yeah, it's a little uneven for that's what happens. If there's always a couple of light weeks, you end up paying for it the week after. So it's like, oh, you got away with spending not much this week. Well, we're gonna slap down everything. But yeah, it'll be a good one. Oh, I forgot to show this off too. I got the Homer Funko Pop of him coming out of the hedges. Which was one of the Fan Expo exclusives that they had in the booth there. But if anybody knows me, I love this meme of him like coming out of the fucking bush. So I had to pick this one up. I thought that was very funny that they did that. There you go. All right, Chris. Favorite book of the week. I think this should come as no surprise to anybody here. Not much to pick from. Yeah. Amazing Fantasy 1000. Yeah. Even when I checked out who was involved in this book. I texted Chris. I'm like, oh, this is an early contender for favorite of the week. And yeah, I'm glad I was right about that. And it wasn't a letdown because
I'm just glad it wasn't a flop or a bum.
Yeah. Not that it had much competition this week, to be honest with you. I felt this was like the only standout, but in this small week. But yeah, there you go. There you have it, guys. Amazing Fantasy 1000. All right, look at that. Hour and 20, man. We fucking did over an hour. See, there we go. And lots of things to talk about still. We filled the time. It was a lot of fun, Chris, talking about all these things. I could go on and on about the expo, but I do enjoy talking comics with you, Chris. That's number one. That's number one in my book. So, all right, there you have it, guys. So make sure go out there, support your local comic book store, buy some tamales, whatever you want to do. Enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you guys here next week once again for another exciting episode. Thanks, Chris.
All right, cheers, guys.
Later.